What is the death penalty? The death penalty has been around for thousands of years. In medieval times, criminals were executed for a lot less. For example, theft. Today, for one to deserve the death penalty, it usually requires murder or rape. Although now we use less barbaric methods of death penalty, like injection or electrocution. Instead of hanging or beheading, the man or woman is still killed, making us equal to the criminal.
Putting a convict on death row and executing him or her will not bring back the victim. This is exactly the opposite of what those who support the death penalty are thinking. There is no way to bring back the dead, so what does it accomplish? Most criminals are held on death row for a long period of time before being executed. For example, Troy Davis, a man convicted of murdering a police officer, was held on death row for 20 years before he was given a lethal injection. That's 20 years of food, money, and resources wasted on one man instead of just putting him in jail. There is also the cost of the lethal injection serum used to kill him that adds to the total money being wasted by the government in order to kill people. One of the biggest problems with the death penalty is if the criminal is falsely accused and then put on death row. As of February 2012, 140 people have been put on death row, then released later because of new evidence. In 1988, Ronald Keith Williamson was convicted for the rape and murder of a waitress. He was put on death row and stayed there for 11 years before being exonerated with help of new DNA evidence found by the Innocence Project. Another case is Timothy Evans from the UK. In 1950, he was executed for allegedly murdering his daughter. Almost 16 years after the execution, a new police investigation helped determine that the murderer was actually John Reginald Halliday Christie, a serial killer. After the evidence was determined to be legitimate, Evans was publicly pardoned, and this case is considered to be the main reason for the demise of the use of the death penalty in the United Kingdom.
Another major defect of the death penalty is how outcome of the case can be decided by the quality of the lawyer defending the accused. Many criminals can't afford a competent lawyer, resulting in a greater chance of the person being given the death penalty, as opposed to life in prison. A fine line separates the two charges, and a defendant who can afford a competent lawyer stands less of a chance of being assigned the death penalty than one who cannot. The death penalty could be a legitimate idea if it really discouraged crime and violence. Unfortunately, it doesn't. Per 100,000 people, Texas has almost twice as many murders as Wisconsin. Texas uses the death penalty and Wisconsin does not. There has also been an idea of seeing others be executed for crime would discourage it and make criminals scared. But actually, some criminologists claim that statistically, when an execution is made public, more crimes occur the following days. Since 1976, 1,280 executions have occurred in the United States. The breakdown is as follows: 1,106 by lethal injection, 157 by electrocution, 11 by gas chamber, 3 by hanging, and 3 by firing squad. Almost 25% of the post-1976 executions have occurred within the last 6 years, including 43 in 2011. The Innocence Project is a non-profit, non-government legal organization operating out of the USA, Canada, UK, Australia, and New Zealand. It was established by Barry Schneck and Peter Newfield in 1992. Their biggest aim is to prove wrongly convicted men and women innocent. The Innocence Project uses DNA testing to try to prove innocent people not guilty, and according to their results, it is quite effective. They have exonerated over 250 innocent people from prison or death row since the creation of the Innocence Project.
The death penalty is cruel and inhumane. No matter how the death penalty is carried out, no one has the power to sentence another to death. Aren't we told that two wrongs don't make a right? The death penalty is an expensive and cruel alternative for punishing a criminal. Where does the killing stop once it begins? Murder is unaccepted by society, yet people satisfy themselves by watching criminals and even innocent people get put to death. Is that not considered to be murder? Putting a criminal to death doesn't solve the questions and problems that are left behind. Mourning families will still carry never-ending sadness, and the criminal no longer has to pay for the consequences of their actions. The phrase death penalty is just a euphemism to cover up the fact that the only thing we're really doing by utilizing the death penalty is murder.